there's some nuances there and reasons why they may want to go through a subpoena.
You are going to Riverside, right?
So one of the other reasons might be what happens if we decide to withhold what their rights are. Under Foia, they might have to go through the Attorney General or file a separate court action, and it could take a really long time, years sometimes, to get the records. Where with a subpoena, they can go before their judge in their case in a matter of weeks and get the records. So there's reasons they can do it through a subpoena. Subpoena for trial, again, talk to me. You don't need a HIPAA release because the judge is ordering testimony and the judge says you can say it, you can say it. So you're fine there. But again, I can arrange a convenient time. So the problem with the trial subpoena is you're going to get subpoenaed for the day the court case is up for trial. So if it starts next Monday, you'll show up on Monday. The judge will say, okay, you guys ready to go to trial? You're not settling? And they'll say, no, we're ready for trial. Well, and the judge will say, well, I'm not free until 11 o'clock today, come back. Then they come back at 11 and say, okay, I'm going to give you an hour for opening arguments, but from a scheduling standpoint, we're not going to take testimony from witnesses until Tuesday. So now you've just spent all of Wednesday sitting in a hallway in the courthouse. And then on Tuesday you get there and you're going to sit in the hallway again, and they may never get to you that day. It may not be till Wednesday that they actually call you. So now you're on day 3 of sitting in a hallway because you can't be in the courtroom during the trial. So you're going to waste an incredible amount of time and be bored out of your mind. So if you get one of these, call me, I'll talk to the attorney and say, realistically, when do you think the witness will be called? I'll have him ready by his cell phone, ready to come down to the courthouse. All we need, but I can work with him so that way you're not giving up multiple days. So definitely let me know if you receive a subpoena for trial. And then this happens all the time. Attorneys call. I don't know if anybody likes the show. I do. Like attorney character, but they'll call you instead of doing a FOIA request, instead of doing a subpoena, and they want to fish to see what information you may have. And it may not be a HIPAA related issue, it could be just in general on something else, but the general, don't talk to attorneys, your time is too valuable, you don't know what their angle is. Best thing to say is, you know what, it's best if you talk to the village attorney. And then we can figure out what it's about and why, but don't just talk to attorneys who call. So when you provide testimony, I'll give you a couple tips. Number one, you're under oath. This is your only job is to tell the truth. Make sure you do. Don't want to commit perjury. Listen carefully to the question and answer only what is asked. So if they ask, remember you're under oath, so you want to listen carefully so you don't say something wrong. But also, if they ask you, did you respond to the accident? And you did, the answer is yes. They didn't ask you anything else. So they'll elicit more questions if they need to, but you don't need to sit there and say, yes, I responded to the accident. It was a rainy night, cloudy. When I got there, there were 3 people in the car, and then start going on and on and on. So just what is asked. If you don't understand, ask for clarification. That's really important. Again, you're under oath, so don't just talk. If you're not quite sure, perfectly fine to ask for clarification. And again, don't guess. A lot of these accidents happened 3 years ago. You may not remember exactly what happened. Don't say something wrong. Remember, they're going to have your report in front of you. So you're going to look foolish if you say something that's wrong. And they say, well, wait a minute, in your report you said the opposite. So if you aren't sure, it's perfectly fine to say, I don't recall. Or to say, that sounds right. I think, the driver had a broken leg, but I think that's right. But again, I see 1,000 patients a year. It was 3 years ago. I can't be sure. Perfectly fine answer. And I don't recall. If it's true, you can't just say that every question is perfectly appropriate. If they have documents and they're holding up and it's perfectly fine to say, well, I'd like to see my report before I have to answer. Look at it first. Don't get confrontational. They may be jerks to you. They may come off as aggressive. That's their tactic. Your job there is just to tell the truth, nothing more, nothing less. Don't let them bully you around and you getting emotional. It is what it is. Just don't get confrontational. And then don't try to impress. You're not there to help one party or the other or to look smooth. You may look, like a bumbling fool, and that's okay. Your job is to tell the truth. And And if you make a mistake, this might be the most important thing, correct it. You say you misspeak or thinking back about it, or even the next day, you did a deposition, you think you said something wrong that might not be right, call me, we can fix it. But again, you're under oath and you don't want to let those statements stand and have a problem later on. So, if you get subpoenas, give me a call. It'll happen at some point.
So we can create a policy that says absolutely no ambulance reports are released without a FOIA or a subpoena.
Generally speaking, yeah. Yep. Now remember, with a FOIA, any written request for records is a FOIA request.